I've never talked about this before, mostly because I'm still not entirely sure if I believe it myself. But every time I drive past that old church on Route 17, I feel that same cold sweat crawl up the back of my neck. And I remember exactly what happened the night I agreed to help Father Marcus. It was a small town in Pennsylvania, the kind of place where nothing ever really happens, and everyone knows who drives which pickup truck. The church sat at the edge of the woods, old stone walls, a rusted bell tower, and a crooked cross that always seemed just slightly off-center. Father Marcus was the only priest left after the previous one had passed away. He was kind, quiet, but there was something tired in his eyes. He'd asked me to help out for a few nights. Apparently, some kids had been breaking in, messing with the candles, spray painting the walls. He wanted someone to stay after hours, just to keep watch. I figured, why not? It was an easy way to help out, and honestly, I didn't mind the quiet. That first night, I brought my coffee, a flashlight, and a blanket. It was cold, early November, and the wind kept whistling through the cracks in the stained glass. By midnight, I started hearing noises. Not the kind of creaks old buildings make, but soft, deliberate footsteps. Slow. Inside the church. I turned off my phone's flashlight and listened. Nothing. Just the wind outside. So I told myself it was my imagination. Around 1 a.m., I heard the church's back door shut. The heavy wooden sound echoed down the empty aisles. I froze. Father Marcus had said no one else had keys. I called out, "Hello? Father Marcus?" No answer. The silence was heavier this time. I turned my flashlight back on, and that's when I saw something I'll never forget. All the candles, every single one of them, had been lit. I had walked by that altar 10 minutes earlier, and every wick had been cold. Now, the whole altar glowed in flickering orange light. There was a smell too, like something burning, but not wax. Something older, like scorched wood and wet earth. Then I saw it, behind the altar, in the narrow hallway leading to the back room. A shadow, perfectly still. Too tall to be Father Marcus, and too thin. It stood there, half in the light, its edges blurred like smoke. I took a step forward, but the closer my flashlight beam got, the darker it became, like it was swallowing the light. Then, as sudden as it had appeared, it was gone. I rushed to the back hallway. Nothing. Just the faint sound of dripping water. The door to the cellar was open. I didn't even know there was a cellar. The steps leading down were carved stone, slick with damp. The smell was stronger there, burnt and sour. Every instinct in my body told me to leave. But something else, curiosity, or maybe fear, made me go down. The air grew colder with each step. My breath fogged up, and somewhere beneath, I could hear whispering. Dozens of voices, speaking all at once but too faint to understand. When I reached the bottom, my light caught on something carved into the wall. Symbols, old ones, circles, crosses, triangles, all scratched deep into the stone. And then, a voice. Not a whisper, not distant, right behind me. "Father Marcus isn't here tonight." It was low, dry, and calm. But what made me sick was the fact that it sounded amused. I turned around and there was nothing, just the open cellar steps, but my flashlight flickered, and for a split second I saw a hand, pale, thin, stretched too long, gripping the stair rail. I bolted, ran up the stairs, nearly fell through the last step, and didn't stop until I was outside. The church lights went out all at once, like someone blew out 100 candles in one breath. When I got to my car, I realized I had left the back door open. But I couldn't go back. Not after hearing that voice again, this time from the tree line. It whispered the same thing. almost softly now, like it was closer. "Father Marcus isn't here tonight." The next morning I called Father Marcus. He didn't pick up. Later that day, I learned he'd been hospitalized. A heart attack, sometime around midnight. He never came back to the church after that, and a few months later, they boarded up the entrance completely. They said it was due to structural damage. But every now and then, when you drive past that road at night, you can still see a faint orange glow from behind those wooden boards, as if the candles never went out. And I swear, if you stop your car and roll down the window, you can still hear someone whisper right by your ear, "Father Marcus isn't here tonight."